Ladies and gentlemen, your favorite white colonizer, Zionist prince, coming to you live from the United States of America. I'm Tall, the Traveling Clat, and we're taking a look at a clip from Andrew Schulz, comedian Andrew Schulz, who everybody thought was Jewish, but he's not.
How many Jews are there? There are like more people from Laos than there are Jews, right? Like it's like a very small
Yes, that's true.
population. So I think there's like a little bit of a disconnect. And, you know, when you don't know a people, and I think this is probably true, and I could be off, but I think there's like an ambient feeling towards Jews from people who don't know Jews. It's an ambient light. And the stereotypes are probably not like the best. They're not exactly negative as long as the economy's good, right? They're like, oh, they're successful. They kind of stick together. They own businesses. They whatever. And as long as the economy's good, everybody's cool. And then eggs get expensive, and you're behind on your rent, and you don't feel hope, and you don't. And then you start going, why do they got all that? What are they about? Why are they separatists? You know, like I'm here proselytizing. I'm trying to get everybody to go to heaven, and they just got their own thing. What? And it's very easy for them to become this like other group. And then you extrapolate that with what's happening like Palestine and Israel, and you get people to start like assessing like the relationship between America and another country. Like you saw America become very uninterested in Ukraine quickly. Like we the second the economy goes down, we start going, well, what do they do for us? Why are we giving them like? And they're starting to ask similar questions about Israel, and there's a lot of anti-Semites that are jumping on it, and they're muddying the whole thing. They're going, this is what they control the government. They do every conspiracy.
Yeah, we told you so. Yeah.
Time. And you hear these like sound bites, like that's our closest ally, and then they go, well, what does that mean? It's like, well, let's explain to them what that means. Like, let's explain the importance of that relationship and how it's beneficial to Americans. Because if you don't explain it and you just go, just be quiet, whatever, then they start to look at these lunatics on Twitter and start to go, wait a minute, is that true?
Yeah, and then they're down the conspiracy hall. And,
I'm not privy to all the geopolitical decisions that are going on there. Who knows? Intelligence from Israel could have thwarted 20 more 9/11s. Yeah, maybe you can't say that because you expose the intelligence operatives you have in the field. But it would, I think, be helpful to understand the value of that for the everyday American, so that when you see something crazy on Twitter, you can go, okay, you're just an anti-Semite and you're looking for a justification for your hate.
All right, Schulzy, I got a bone to pick with you because you've been kind of wishy-washy on Israel-Palestine in the last year. I mean, I get it. You're a random white guy from the United States of America. It's hard for you to like fully understand the geopolitical complexities of Mizrahi Jews and being ethnically cleansed from our lands. I'm not expecting you to understand it. He's a smart guy. I'm not saying he's not. He's a very smart guy, but I think there's a limited capacity how much he can intake from a conflict he probably doesn't really care much about. I will say this. You basically just explained Hasbara. You explained what I do as a job, which is Israel advocacy, and what so many people since October 7th have taken up as either a job or something they do as a job that doesn't pay them, which is explaining Israel to the world. But, you know, even when we go about doing that, we just get attacked for it and saying we're all being paid by the Mossad when I haven't made a penny for a year and a half. Basically, I was just living off of my savings and being supported by my audience. Only now I've started making a little bit of money off of this, but I was being blamed that I was making millions of dollars and being paid by the Israeli government and the Mossad to do this. And that's what you get. That is what you get when you try to do Hasbara, when you try to do Israel advocacy, when you try to explain about Israel. And you get that reaction from many Americans too. You say, oh, you're funded by AIPAC, you're funded by the ADL, by this. I'm like, I haven't seen a penny from any organization. From any organization. I haven't received shit. And most of my friends who are doing this too haven't seen shit. There's like a few people at the top who get a bunch of money, but the rest of us just get shit on. And so the reality is, it's not enough to just explain about Israel. We have to go on the offensive. We have to explain the shortcomings of the other side. We have to explain why Arab Islamic society in the United States is detrimental to the United States, unfortunately, in the current framework. I'm not saying that all Arabs and all Muslims are detrimental to the success of the United States, but in the current framework, the pan-Arabist sort of Islamic colonial ideology that is inherent in Arab Muslim society in America, it is detrimental to the United States of America. We need to explain, we need to call it out. As Jews, and specifically Mizrahi Jews, we need to stand up and say why that's bad and why we've suffered under it. And we need to go on the offensive and attack people. Attack people for their shitty ideology. Especially when it affects us and has affected our family. Unapologetically, I'll say that. I appreciate Andrew Schulz for explaining so eloquently what Hasbara is. I think it's kind of, I mean, I know this. You didn't teach me anything new. You didn't teach anybody else anything new. But it's not that people are really receptive to learning about Israel. That's why you kind of need to go on the offensive in 2025. But I believe there's a place for both. There's a place of balance for both. There's people who really excel at explaining Israel, and the cherry tomatoes and the Intel chips and the drip irrigation and all this shit and desalinization of the Dead Sea and desalinization programs around the world. But at the same moment, we need to go on the offensive, and that's what I'm here for. And I love you guys very much, and I appreciate you supporting my channel, and I'll see you in the next one. Goodbye. If you believe in my content and want to support me, just know your help is needed. There's a bunch of great ways to support me, being PayPal, Buy Me a Coffee, or joining my Patreon community down below. Patreon is the best way to support my channel, and you'll get a bunch of cool perks depending on what tier you join. Another great way to support me is by buying my merchandise on thetravelingclat.com. I regularly drop new merch designs like this beautiful hat, or this amazing shirt, where you can support the channel and get something cool for yourself. I also have an amazing Discord community with people from all over the world. Thank you so much for your support.